You're listening to a GWP weather update. It's Friday, March 6th, 2026, and today we're going to be looking at some of the severe weather that is expected to move through across the area this afternoon and into this evening and overnight hours as well. So we'll start off by looking at the national weather alerts here. This is from the National Weather Service, as we usually look at this here, showing you that we've got some of those winter alerts to our north. We've got the fire threat today across New Mexico and Texas. Of course, this is where we'll have that severe weather threat later today. We've got some ongoing wintry precipitation in Maine. We've got some light freezing drizzle and some sleet and snow across New England today. We've got some high wind alerts for some 60-mile-per-hour winds across the state of Montana. We've got some winter advisories and warnings across Alaska. And then we've got some wind advisories across the desert Southwest. And then we got some fog alerts along the Gulf Coast as well. But the big story across the state of Missouri is going to be that risk for some severe weather. Taking a look at the current radar, you'll notice this is from the National Weather Service radar, by the way, and you'll notice we do have some showers. Not a whole lot of thunder at this point in time, thunder or lightning. We did have some stronger storms out there earlier this morning. So this is actually kind of a line of thunderstorms that we weren't quite expecting to develop. They're more widespread, but these storms right here could limit the severe capability of our thunderstorms later today. And so what that means is any of this rain that we see here across western and central and northern Missouri, that could actually limit our severe weather chances later this evening. So we kind of want these thunderstorms to roll through because that will limit that instability that we get later today in the atmosphere. So here's that area at risk for severe storms. Again, we've got that enhanced risk across western Missouri and eastern Kansas. Not a whole lot of changes with this map here, as again, Oklahoma and Arkansas and far southern Missouri, and that's where the highest risk is going to be for those tornadoes. We've got that 10% category across those areas. And then we do have this hatched region that goes anywhere from northern Texas all the way up into Iowa, including us here in Missouri, and that is for the risk of the possibility of seeing EF2 tornadoes or higher. Again, it's a possible risk. It's not a really high risk. The majority of tornadoes that we see this evening would likely be on the lower end of the scale, EF0 or EF1, but we cannot rule out the possibility of some stronger tornadoes, which would be EF2 or EF3 tornadoes. Again, these tornadoes will be isolated. The main risk is going to be when we get those afternoon and evening supercell thunderstorms. The individual storms, those are going to have the highest chance for rotation and the risk of tornadoes. Then as we go through tonight, we'll have that line of thunderstorms that will develop. And within that, we also have the risk of a few brief, weaker tornadoes, but that risk is much lower than what we could see with those supercells. The reason why the severe weather risk, or the tornado risk rather, is going to be lower across Oklahoma and Arkansas and southern Missouri, not including us here in Joplin or Nevada. The reason why that tornado risk is higher across this region is because we will be dealing with more of those supercells during the afternoon, where the rain that we're seeing right now across this region is going to limit that risk for supercell thunderstorms. It will still be there. It will just be a little bit less across the region here. The wind threat is still going to be a concern. It's not really the biggest threat today, but it is still something that we're watching. Then there is that hatched region, but that's going to be staying to the north. That's where we could be looking at 75-mile-per-hour winds or stronger. This has moved to the north, so we were in this as of yesterday. So that was one of the big changes that we had, is that we're no longer under that hatched area. And then hail is definitely going to be the biggest risk. We could be looking at hail likely anywhere between quarter and line size hail, but we could see hail as big as tennis ball size hail. That is going to be the concern as we go through this evening, particularly for that hatched region, that area in red that does include us. So that's the reason why we're under that enhanced risk for severe weather, is because the hail threat is a little bit on the higher side. And so that's something that we're going to be watching. Here's the statement that we had from the weather story from the National Weather Service in Springfield, Missouri, again showing that sharp cutoff that we have across the state of Missouri with those western counties of Missouri, including Nevada and Joplin, all the way up to Kansas City, under that enhanced risk. And then a little bit of a lower threat here across Jefferson City from Sedalia over to Columbia as well. Columbia would be about right here. And so we're under that level 2 risk across the Lake of the Ozarks. The Lake of the Ozarks is kind of like that cutoff for where we see that 2 versus that 3. But again, hail up to tennis ball size hail is possible, winds of 70 miles per hour, and then again, the isolated tornado risk will also be there. Timing that out for us, this is as we go forward in time. So again, some thunderstorms out there this morning. These are not going to produce severe weather, so that is some good news. But as we go towards this afternoon, I would say around 3 or 4 o'clock, we'll start to get supercell thunderstorms south of here. These will not affect us. But then as we go into about 6 or 7 p.m. in the evening, we will notice some thunderstorms will develop across southwestern and western Missouri. Central Missouri will likely not see any thunderstorms aside from what we could get this morning until around 9 or 10 o'clock. But between 6 and about 10 p.m., that's when we're going to have the highest risk for supercell thunderstorms that could lead to tornadoes. Then they will begin to become more widespread. The tornado threat will go down, the wind risk will increase, and then those thunderstorms will move in through the overnight hours. These thunderstorms will not be out of the area until around 4 or 5 a.m. So it is going to be an all evening and all overnight threat that we're going to be dealing with. And then we'll even have the risk for severe weather further to our east and to our south as we go into tomorrow, but that will not affect us here in the state of Missouri. All right, well, that's pretty much about it. The last thing that I do want to mention is, of course, this is the end of Severe Weather Awareness Week. So hopefully you've taken some time to either review our severe weather preparedness video that we put out there, or you've taken some time to review your safety plan with your family. That would be a really good plan. Really, I would recommend that you do both of those, that you watch the video and that you make those preparations that you need. Have a way to get alerts. Also, we will be doing live streams. We'll be doing, like 10 or 15 minutes on and off is what we'll be doing with when it comes to that live stream. We'll start those around 4 or 5 p.m. and then those will continue into the overnight hours as well. So really as long as needed. So again, the live stream will be on an as needed basis. And so if there is ongoing tornadoes across the region, we will go live. And so that is, and if there's any other really big hazardous threat from the wind and hail, then we will also go live for those reasons as well. Otherwise, that is it for now. Stay weather aware, stay safe, and we'll see you back here later tonight if needed.